Welcome to the Never Throw in the Towel podcast. This episode is sponsored by Test Me. We are thrilled and really proud to be sponsored by Test Me because they are an organisation that share our values and mission around improving men's physical and mental well-being. Test Me Health focuses on the important link around gut health and well-being, which is so important because it's gaining knowledge around food that impacts the gut in a negative way, which can be a game changer because we are gaining knowledge and education around nutrition and diet, ultimately resulting in a much better and safer lifestyle. I just want to say a huge thank you to Test Me for backing and supporting the Never Throw in the Towel podcast, which is stories around resilience and adversity in hope to help and inspire, and trying to change the culture around men talking with the message that talking is a strength, not a weakness. Please like and subscribe to the channel because more likes, more subscriptions, and the more this channel grows, ultimately, this will help more people. Enjoy the show. Never Throw in the Towel. Hello, welcome to the Never Throw in the Towel podcast. Today we have Shaun Hope. He is the principal and CEO of Bishop Auckland College. He is a coach, speaker, and I've actually even seen you do an unbelievable job at being a compere.
Thank you very much.
So, a man of many talents. Shaun, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Anthony.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure. So, like the stuff I've just kind of mentioned there, really impressive CV.
Thank you.
Leader, coach, mindset, speaker, all these really good attributes. None of that happens overnight. So I want to go back, take me back as a young man when you were at school and what's led you to this kind of career that you've got now.
Oh, what a question. What a way to start. So I think if we look back at absolutely fantastic childhood, like lovely family, amazing family. Mum and dad worked extremely hard to give me a brilliant upbringing and definitely got that. I've got so many fond memories of a brilliant childhood. But I think something that shaped me and continues to shape me was sport, and particularly football. And probably didn't realise it at the time, but that football shaped a lot of the things I am now.
I always say that. All the fundamentals actually come from that sporting background.
Yeah, and I played it like we all do because I loved it. But then it gave me good opportunities. So at the age of around 11, 12, I moved into the Sunderland Academy, and I was there and loving my life there. That gives you a good grounding. You're getting top quality coaching. We've just off air been chatting about a couple of those. You then get to meet different people, get great experiences. I remember travelled with them on trips abroad, and you're travelling up and down the country every weekend and playing games, and that gave me a great grounding. And then football brought me challenges as well. So at the age of 16, I was released by Sunderland. And I thought that, you can imagine, 16-year-old, you're a few months away from finishing secondary school. And I was released. And but that one door shuts, the other one opens. And I then went to Coventry City and played there for 3 years. Even more amazing opportunities, even more.
What level was the Coventry then? At this point, was it actually like professional, or was it still the youth team? Or
so I went there on a 3-year contract. The first year was as a scholar, like the old YTS as I'd call it, and some people would call them scholars now.
And you must have been some player there though, because I remember like the cut off when you got YT was massive, wasn't it? To get that.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't think those doors would open again. So cut off at Sunderland. And at the time at Sunderland, I was captain of the under-16s. I was playing every week for the under-19s. I'd actually sat on the bench for the reserves, at 16, and I was thinking, I'm getting that place. And then a man who's since become quite famous in football, Sam Allardyce, came in as the director of youth football and just didn't fancy me. And you learn very quickly football's a game of opinions.
Yeah.
But one door shuts, the other one opens, and I find myself at Coventry. 1 year as a YTS, and then a 2-year pro contract I signed. Obviously moved away from home and moved down to there, and just went from being a big fish in quite a small pond in the northeast. My team had like the England captain, youth captain, the Welsh captain. We had Italians playing for us, Swedes playing for us, people from Ireland and Scotland, and it was just an absolutely amazing experience. And when I look back now, I can see lots of the things I'm doing now and lots of the experience I've got probably were formed through that early childhood of sport, really.
Yeah. And I think the modern day world that we live in now, with schools, and I'd be interested in your opinion. I seen a post on LinkedIn, and there was this guy who was really having a rant about how they're not implementing winners or losers at sports day. And, with like what you've touched on there, you've had some successes, but you've had some setbacks.
Absolutely.
But then you go again and you go again. And what's your take now? Because obviously you work with young people now in regards to that side of things, with the winning and losing and challenges. It's a bit more, I don't know, but a bit more softer now, isn't it?
It can be, absolutely can be. I prefer to use the term winning or learning. And to be honest, because the losing or the failing is when we stop and we quit.
Yeah.
So if I look back just on my experiences there and those I've just explained, I had an option, when released by Sunderland, and I remember that now. It's still there. I can remember the day. I can remember the phone call. And I had an opportunity then to give up.
Yeah.
Or an opportunity to go, what have I learned from this?
Yeah.
And kick on. And that's something I'm absolutely passionate about. I talk to our students at the college about it a lot. In my work, in my other work, I talk about it a lot. There's no failing. It's just learning. What can we learn from that?
Yeah.
So I'm very, very much a strong believer. Like, let's give everybody an opportunity to test themselves and learn from it. Some might call that failure. Some might call that losing. For me, it's only those things if we decide to stop.
Yeah. And I think, drilling that mindset, I think, so important. There's a book called a guy called John Kavanagh, who was Conor McGregor's coach, and he's brought a book out with that quote that you've just said. It's either win or learn, and just having that mindset. And again, I don't know anyone who's successful who hasn't got endless amounts of losses.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
like what you've touched on there, the losses actually are lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I use the term, like, if you wanted to talk failure, my life would be punctuated by failures. There'd be getting released, there'll be not getting jobs, there'll be getting kickbacks, there'll be trying things that just didn't work and I've had to start again. But that's what builds you up. It sort of builds a strength in you and gives you the tools that you need then to go on and achieve in other forms of life. So I absolutely love it. I love to test myself. I love to test others and keep pushing yourself to those limits to say, when is the learning going to take place? What things can I pick from that?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you had, you talk about you could remember the phone call and stuff, and you had them thoughts. So at a young age, was that the kind of the process that you had, and was that kind of coached into you from your parents or from where did that come from? It's strange how you've got there so quickly, Anthony, but it's something I've played around with quite a bit, because at the time I thought the world was in. The really fortunate thing for me is I had my dad next to me at the same time, and he didn't give me. I remember the day he didn't even give me a minute to overthink it. We were out kicking the ball in the back garden like an hour after. Right.
That wasn't a practice. That was him just having an opportunity to talk to me differently. But he had the next steps. He was like, so I'll get on the phone next week, Shaun, and I'll speak to all of the other clubs, see who's taking trials, and we'll go down here this week and we'll go down there the next week. And he just didn't give me enough space to dwell on it too much. And I look now and I think you surround yourself with the right people. Obviously, I was lucky that I'm born into a family where my dad does those type of things. But there are lots of other examples of that as well, where you maybe don't have those skills. And young people, we talk about that a lot, don't have those skills. So you've got to surround yourself with the right people who can sort of bleed those skills into you without you realising that it's happening.
Yeah. I touched on that. I mean, I'm guessing we'll have loads of similarities. I touch on environment. Like environment there's a quote I use, and it's the law of conformity. Environment will always trump will. Mm-hmm. And it's so true, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I get to shape that now in my college, so we're talking about that a lot. Students, I don't know when this goes out on air, but the students started back this week.
Oh, right, okay.
Lots of new and lots of returning students. And we've done a lot of work this summer on our environment. What does it look like? What does it say about us? And you're absolutely right. It can, without us realising, it's influencing us all the time.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of work as a college, as a group of staff, as a team, to say, what do we want our environment to bring to our young people?
Yeah.
And it's exciting to see, as they walk through the door, the little extra respect they show for the way we've changed things up, or the way they are respected by our staff.
Yeah. I mean, well, I like a really good bit of feedback. So I went to college with Andy Dixon.
What a guy.
So we were like, we were in college doing sports studies, but he said you're absolutely top draw, like as a principal. So I will give you a pass on that good feedback.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and you've you talked about the everyone going back. My first son, 4-year-old, he's went to reception this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I just received a phone call off my wife today, just saying like he was crying his eyes out, feeling really anxious. He didn't want to go in, and it's tough, but like that tough things actually build that character, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I was going to ask a question, but you sort of answered it there. What did your wife do? And she's obviously encouraged him to go in and supported him.
Yeah. She just went with him. The teacher got him, and she's a bit of a softie like me, but she knows that he's just ultimately you've just got to do it.
Great parents done great things to support him. So we all have choices to make, don't we? And that can shape the environment. And each choice is also a vote for the type of person that we want to be and we want to support. So, as I said, I've been very, very fortunate that I've had that leadership in my life. Started with my dad and many other people as well, but my dad's been obviously a constant.
I think I put that down to me. I got brought up by women. I got brought up. I lived with grandma, granddad, and my mum. Like my granddad wasn't. He was just an absolute Neanderthal. But in terms of with me grandma and me mum, I just the endless amount of support. Yeah. Just they always were just like so supportive, and they never missed a football game. They never missed a race. They never missed anything. I think it's so important, and that's why I think, and you'll probably feel this, because if you've had that and you know how important it is, when you see, say, a struggling young person, a lot of the time there's a backstory, isn't there?
Mm-hmm, of course.
And this is something that I really want to touch on. There's many things we want to talk about, but obviously you working in the field with young people, what's your thoughts and what does it look like around mental health in young people from what you've seen?
Yeah, it's I guess it's well documented, isn't it? It depends on where you listen to. If it's mainstream media, they use language like crisis, and I prefer to say we've got some challenges. I think language is really, really, really important. But if we just, before we dive into some of the more details, if you just think about, we call it mental health, and some people might say to me, some young people might say, I've got mental health. Yeah. Now, if you use the term health with something else in front of it, it usually means a really positive thing. Yeah. I've got physical health, usually means I'm physically strong and fit and so on. Yeah. But emotional health or financial health, they mean positive things.
Yeah.
We've allowed, as a society, mental health to be spun in a very negative way. So I think language is important. Why it's also important is we've got people talking about crisis. And do we have a crisis with the mental health? We certainly have lots of challenges. But I worry when we talk about a crisis, but we're not really given solutions as well.
Yeah.
And then sort of third point on language is, I don't know about you, Anthony, and I don't think I'm too old, but when I was at school, I never talked about having anxiety. I might have talked about the butterflies in my stomach and having some nerves.
Yeah.
I never talked about anxiety. And now I see primary school children talking about, I struggle with my anxiety.
Yeah.
You're a child, like,
Yeah.
you will find things difficult and you will get nervous over things and so on. Now I'm saying that, and I'm by no means an expert, so I'm not belittling in any way, shape or form the real significant and serious challenges that people face.
Yeah.
I just think we've got to be careful as a society we don't bring all those together with the language that we use.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that not just young people, society, needs a new set of skills to deal with the challenges that we face.
Yeah.
And particularly the younger people are finding lots of the changes that have happened in society, whether that's through technology, whether that's relationships, expectations. They're finding challenges and how to deal with that. And then that's materialising in some behaviours that aren't really nice for them. And we do see that more and more, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a real role to play to try and help that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, interesting what you've said there. It is about language, isn't it? Like I work in the field, but I still use the term mainly because it's the term everyone knows around mental health. But like that, when you say physical health, I always say you should be keeping on top of your mental health and your mental health, but actually they run full circle.
Of course they do. Yeah.
They completely run full circle. Like I've got a diagram made by, I forget the doctor's name. She was from Oxford University, and it showed. It was a picture of two brains, and it showed the brain after a 20-minute walk. How significantly different it is, and it just shows like the link. But again, we just spoke. We're similar age. We're like born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and I always say like you're grounded. You're not leaving your room used to be a punishment, didn't it?
Absolutely.
And this is something that I've noticed, like the physical activity aspect of the younger people. It's massively like declined.
Yeah, and it's been replaced, hasn't it? It's been replaced by things that used to be really difficult for us. And I'm not for 1 minute advocating let's go back in time, or it's just recognising the difference. But have we become equipped to deal with it? So I used to live for either my football or going out and playing with my friends. That can be done. Playing football can't, but playing with your friends can be done from your bedroom now, and friends can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
there's loads of great things about that. Absolutely brilliant. But that's brought is a problem with physical movement. It stopped us from moving. So our physical step count, like our active step count, is just significantly declined as things have become more convenient, easy to access. We've maybe seen that in terms of physical health, and we've recognised that from a physical health point of view. But no one's really, as that was happening, no one was talking about the impact it makes on your mental health.
Yeah.
I call them my morning medicines, but every morning I'm up and out, and it's because I need it for the rest of my day.
Yeah.
If I'm getting a bit groggy, my wife will say to me, "You need your walk this morning," and she'll kick me out the door because she knows that that's a way of getting the mind in a positive way.
Yeah.
I feel that my mental health is really strong as a result of doing things like that. But they have been lost in society, but our environment's created that. Yeah.
And I always say this, the amount of, obviously I work in the field of mental health, and whether it's people who attend my free meetups or whether it's someone who comes and sits in my chair, when they say the mental health is struggling, And I always ask them the same questions. Are you doing exercise?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no. Have you spoke to anyone about this? Connected with anyone?
Yeah.
No. You drinking much water? No. Nutrition? What's that like? Not good. No walks in nature? No.
Yeah.
And then when it's blokes, are you drinking alcohol?
Yeah.
Yes. And then it's like, right, okay, this could be an easy fix
Yeah.
if you implemented some good habits.
Yeah.
You're living shit, you're feeling shit.
Yeah.
Live a bit better. And I know there's multiple different ways of struggling with your mental health or illness, trauma, and all that. But I still think what you've touched on there, kind of like implementing them good habits, is massive into.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive, and to link to young people. But some young people don't recognise that, and then don't have the skill set yet to put that in place. So we're doing that for them. So at college this week, it's a real challenge for young people starting for many reasons, but we've carefully curated the week so they're all meeting new people, they're trying new activities, the physical, they're not stuck in their classroom. We've got them out and about. We've got them into nature, so every one of them's got some sort of trip happening over their 2-week induction where they're out into nature somewhere, out into the local countryside. And we've reduced their mobile phone use. So we've implemented a no mobile phones in classrooms, and that's been challenging.
Yeah.
But because all the evidence tells us that it's stopping those positive relationships, it's stopping those positive behaviours. Just to see, like 1 week in, the conversation that's happening, the smiles on people's faces, heads are up rather than down at the screen all the time. There's a better connection.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to implement those things because we know environment can shape behaviour.
Yeah.
We're shaping our environment to suit that.
And how long have you been at Bishop Auckland then?
18 months, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So
just done my full first cycle.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. And prior to that, I was at Hartlepool College for 17 years.
Wow. Wow. And so what does it look like then when you came? What were your main focuses then when you were kind of like the new guy running the college? And was there anything in particular that you felt that needed to change?
Well, Natalie, my predecessor, had done a fantastic job with the college anyway, so that I inherited a college that was in a really good position. Performance was strong, so the students were coming in and achieving. There were sort of a few things I wanted to do my way, which of course anyone who goes into an organisation would. I was very much focused on the changes that were happening in the region and making sure we had a curriculum that was fit for purpose with those changes. We've just seen devolution. We've got a North East Combined Authority. We've got new employers entering the region. And so I just wanted to do some work with our curriculum and help us grow into those areas. And connect with our community as well was another big part of that. So we've done a lot of work in Bishop Auckland and the surrounding areas to connect with our community. So that might be things like hosting events. So we've hosted the Pride in Bishop Auckland. We've hosted Armed Forces Days. We have school groups up every week. We've had yourself in and people like that.
Yeah. You know what though? We need just a quick one about the nature stuff. I run the free meetups now in Hampstead Forest.
Yeah, not too far from us. Yeah.
So it's not far.
Yeah.
So pretend we can have a conversation about maybe doing one of these
Would love
retreats.
Would
the spot I do it at's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And that's been purposeful for a few reasons. First is a strong believer that I'm very fortunate to have the job as principal and CEO, but I'm just a custodian to an organisation that belongs to the community.
Yeah.
And I've got to make sure that I lead that and lead the team to do the best we can for our community. So if we're not connected to our community, we don't know what they need.
Yeah.
So that's the first reason. The second is I always think you grow by helping others. So if we go and help our community, all of our students grow as a result of that and become better.
Yeah.
So and we're doing loads of great work. I'm extremely proud of where we are.
Yeah.
We're doing loads of great work.
And how did you actually? So you've been the sportsman.
Yeah.
So how did you start going into the academic and then the kind of the teaching aspect of it. You're smirking
I'm
there.
smirking because I get asked this when I do podcasts and the likes, and my wife is the answer.
Right,
so
okay.
there's two turning points, and she was my girlfriend at the time, wife now, but we'd had Gracie, my eldest daughter, and I was working as a sports coach, and I loved the job, but it wasn't very well paid.
Yeah.
So she applied for a job at Hartlepool College for me as an unqualified teacher. I didn't know she'd applied. She filled the application form in for me, and I only found out when the invite to interview dropped on the mat. And
Right.
yeah, so I went along, got that job there. So that was that. But prior to that, I hadn't even, after I was released from football, I hadn't even thought about what would come next. My dad we had a family business, a baker's business, and I thought that's all I'd do.
Oh, right, okay.
And she applied to university for me, and she
Right.
she said, "That's qualification you've been getting. Why you've been playing football? I can get you into uni." That. So she applied to university for me. So really, those two things that she did for me have helped me then move into the world of education, and then the competitive edge kicked in. And I thought, "Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And I can get better at this."
Yeah, yeah.
And then come the next jobs.
Yeah. And what we like as an academic?
Absolutely loved it. Loved teaching. Still do. I'll try and get in front of the classroom as much as I possibly, well, as much as the staff will let me, really.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. I love imparting knowledge on other people and seeing other people grow. That's probably why I do the coaching as well. Yeah. That's sort of gone. But again, it was the ambition bit. I could see the next role and thought, "Oh, I like that one," and the next one. So I was teaching full-time maybe for 4 years before I got my first management job.
Right, okay.
And then teaching part-time with management jobs, leading up to, I think, about 10 years ago, I stopped doing that completely.
Yeah. I think, again, though, I think the sport, like, I'm like you, like, I think it's that sporting thing. So it's like, if I'm doing something, I'm just going, right, so how can I try and be better. Be the better. Yeah, how can I be the best, or how can I drive forward? And I think like will and drive, the probably like the most key attributes that you want, that will get you into the places. Yeah, and it all comes from sport.
Absolutely.
A lot of the time.
Well, I'd agree, and I'd add one more, which would be discipline, which I think comes from that background as well, which the ability to turn up when will maybe is dropping a little bit. I think I'll still do the hard yards, I'll still do the work, or when everybody else is slacking off, right, put it in. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Something that I come across again. There was a guy who he was in my chair and he told me about that he's just struggling to have motivation to go to the gym. He was not happy about his weight, etc. And I kind of said what you said. I said, don't wait for the motivation. Just go in any case. Yeah. Just go in any case. Yeah. Like, how many people would not turn to the job if they kind of weren't motivated to go? Yeah. You go because you've got to go.
Yeah, of course.
Treat the gym the same. Yeah. Like, because so it's a great point. You've touched on coaching then, so you actually coach professional athletes. So how did you how did that start?
Yes, so I'm, just to stress out, a performance coach, not a business coach, not a lifestyle coach. Try and support people, coach people to improve their performance. How it started is almost like everything in my life has started by just trying to help others. I find that in my job. And I was just helping people, friends really, supporting people. And I turned into that person that people would pick the phone up and say, "Shaun, what would you do about this? What would you do about that?" And it was a good friend of mine who was running his own business, and he'd scaled it quite quickly, quite significantly, and said, "Will you come in and help me? I haven't got a hold of this. Got all these staff and I need a bit of support." So volunteered, did a couple of sessions for him, just helping out. And then he said, "If I paid you, would you come back and do this again?" And I said, "Lee, I don't want paying for it. I'll just come and do it." And he went, "No, but I need you to do it loads." So he went on, "I'll sort of pay you for it." And it started there, but really I'd been on a bit of a journey myself as well at that point. As with anyone in life, you get to these sort of ceiling points. And I remember getting to one in my career thinking, how do I push through? And I'd done a lot of, maybe go there if you want to, a lot of blaming as well of others. I was expecting that leaders needed to develop me and leaders needed to give me opportunities and so on. And it wasn't coming. And somebody just said to me, well, how about you just take accountability yourself? So running parallel with these, trying to help other people, I really started helping myself, started self-studying. And I'd done a lot of work around coaching and how to coach myself, really.
Yeah.
But then I found I had these skills that I was then helping others.
Yeah.
It started like that. But when it really kicked off was when a former student of mine who had turned into a professional athlete, she came to me and said, Shaun, I'm a bit stuck. Can you help me? And that's Savannah Marshall. So it was just after she'd come back from, I don't know if anybody knows the story, but she'd been to the Olympic Games. She'd done 2 Olympic Games, London 2012, Rio 2016, and then signed professional. She was the first female professional boxer for Floyd Mayweather's productions, and he set her up over in Las Vegas. And I let her tell the story one day, but there were a lot of challenges with that. And then she came back to Britain and set about being the women's professional game became a lot stronger here. Yeah. And she moved into that, but she had some challenges, some performance challenges out of the ring.
Right, okay.
And then she asked me to support her and started to do that. I now support some professional athletes, some young athletes. I like to do that. And business leaders.
Yeah.
Only small. I'm not making this out to be bigger than what it is.
Yeah.
I maybe do, because my priority is my other work as well. I maybe do 5 to 10 hours a month.
Okay.
Just dedicate some time to support people, and I love that work. It's really, really rewarding.
Yeah.
And it keeps me sharp and it keeps me better at my full-time job, because you've got to keep supporting these elite people. Yeah.
I think as well, though, you can have there's big gains for yourself as well, because there's you've got to be practicing what you preach. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting more into it, but I remember where I was running the it was kind of like coaching, but I was like, well, I have to be leading from the top. I have to be doing it. And I was doing like cold water every morning, but it was kind of like, right, I'm the one who's got to do it.
Yeah.
And so there's big gains from actually being a leader, because I think, there's no worse than giving it that.
Yeah.
But actually, you're not doing that as well.
Yeah. It has helped me so much. Obviously, I hope that everybody who I coach, they're getting the benefit from it. But obviously I pick things up as well, and I'm talking like the people I work with are at the top of their game. So obviously I'm sharpening my skills as well, learning from them as I'm coaching them as well. Yeah,
that's what I've found with doing the work I do. I'm always constantly wanting to learn. I'm always constantly trying to just basically be a better version of what I'm already doing.
That's the key, Anthony, as well. That's the key.
Yeah.
I find every single one of these people who I work with, they never stop learning. Never, ever stop learning. And whether that's formal, reading books, doing courses, or whether it's informal, just constantly asking for feedback, looking at different ways. I look, she won't mind me saying this, I'm absolutely sure. I look at Savannah, for example. She's now exploring other fields just to get the tiny 0.01% to her performance, and it's things that you, to the public eye, you wouldn't realise. Yeah, an elite athlete's doing this all the time. Yeah, constantly trying to be better.
Yeah, I find all that fascinating. What will you do? Is there anything in particular, or will you always kind of tailor it to the person's needs of who you're coaching?
So all tailored, largely focuses around where that person's at and where they want to be. So it's That's where are we now, and where do we want to be, and what sort of bridges is from there. But yeah, it's largely tailored. I've developed as a coach over the last 5-6 years of doing that, and I've got more in my tool bag, if you like, so more I can use. And it varies. It really, really varies depending on where people are at. I've just recently coached 2 young athletes from Hartlepool who've gone to the CrossFit Games. So the CrossFit, for those who don't know, the CrossFit Games is the top 30 athletes in the world in their age category, and there were 2 from the same gym in Hartlepool. Wow! So a young lad called Lewin just turned 17. A young lady called Evie just turned 15, and they've both just gone to the CrossFit Games now. Now with them, obviously a lot of the work I did with them, they're going to experience something they've never experienced before. So you're doing a lot of visualization. Yeah. You're doing a lot of preparation work for control and things like how you feel and so on. Yeah. Whereas I won't necessarily need to do that I met with this morning a business leader, and I won't need to do the same with him. Yeah. But with him, we might be talking about some goal setting, some optimization techniques that he can use. So it really, really does vary just depending on where the people are at. Yeah, yeah. And do you ever do you ever dabble with any form of like breath work and stuff like that? I do a bit of that myself, but I'm not. I always say, if you want, with all of my work, I'll share what I know, but I'll always share experts in their field. Yeah. So, for example, with Lewin and Evie, we use breath work, 3 different types of breath work for them whilst they were preparing for the CrossFit Games, because they find themselves in different scenarios and there are different techniques that they can use. But mainly signpost them all sort of where you can find out more about this and so on as well. Yeah. So I'm probably where you're at with the breath work. I am very, very interested and intrigued, and I massively use it myself. Yeah. And I'm on a continue. I mean, I've done a cold water course. So again, there's breath work and stuff like that. So I'm constantly trying to learn about it. But it definitely, once I've got into it, I've definitely seen like there's big benefits in it. Huge, yeah. Like I had a boxing fight in December, and I've always done sports and I've always been competitive. But like I would say, waiting in the dressing room before you go out to have a boxing fight, I've probably never tapped into nerves and adrenaline and fear. Like there's no other sport that's done that to me. Mm-hmm. So but implementing the breath work, I found a massive gain, because there was loads of self-doubt, fear. I was even implementing it as I was walking into the ring. Yeah. But it was just like, and again, you'll know this with sport, you're always going to perform at your best if you're relaxed. Yeah. And I think and this is something that I feel, and I'm starting to do more talks at schools and stuff, but I feel as if that should be, started to be spoke about or learnt more about around breathwork, because you've mentioned, a lot of kids talking about anxiety, stress and stuff. And I feel as if the breathwork is just such a great shield to implement that. I agree. Yeah, you're preaching at the converted here. Absolutely agree. I used the analogy earlier, and I think it's like a tool bag, and it's one or multiple tools depending on how many techniques you develop. You're using your tool bag, and you pick the right tool depending on what the task is. And as you're talking there about your fight, it brings me back to one of the original challenges I had with Savannah. She was absolutely amazing in the ring, and if anybody's ever watched her fight, you'll account for. Yeah, she's fantastic. I'm a big boxing fan. Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. But she really, really struggled from when the cameras were in the changing room, and from the cameras being in the changing room to the walk to the ring. Yeah. So we developed. We framed it, bringing the curtain down, and what that used to be is the moment when we'd say everyone else out, bring the curtain down, and it was just Savannah in her own head and preparing for for the fight ahead. And she'd use visualization technique. She'd use breath work at that point.
Yeah.
And we'd use some different action prompts that we'd worked on, which would help her calm, but be ready prior to the fight, instead of being in her own head and panicking and worrying about things all the time. So if the best do it, and she's like a multiple world champion boxer, why shouldn't we all?
I totally say that, because it's still like meditation or even breath work. It definitely still has that fluffy tag to it, doesn't it? I mean, when I say to blokes, you know, are you doing any form of implementing breath work or mindfulness tactics? Or obviously, I'm like, do you know what I mean? But SAS, they do it. I forget the guy's name, but the England football team, they specifically had a breathwork coach in, and I always remember watching the last tournament when they were in the penalties. Yeah. I immediately was like, they're doing breathwork, and then I'd looked into it, and they had a breathwork coach. I forget his name, and they had that like, and again, it makes sense, that high pressure situation where all eyes are on them. The adrenaline's fueled. In training, there'd probably people are slotted 100 times out of 100, but with that pressure. But if you resort to some technique and just eliminate the noise, breath work, and they were fantastic at it. Yeah,
again, you're preaching to the conveyor, but I'm completely on your side. I used terms, you've probably heard a few of them, for things to stick, but the term pressure is a privilege. You know, the fact you're feeling that, and then you need to go into your tool bag to use something. It's a privilege, that, because do you know who's not fearing that? Is people who are not trying. Yeah. People who aren't pushing at their upper limits, people who aren't growing or putting themselves into a scenario that is challenging. So the fact you need to do it, great. Like, that's amazing. The fact that you need to go to use your breathwork technique, if that's it, or journaling or visualization or whatever. Yeah. Great, because that means we're pushing at our upper limits and we're using our tool bag.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel as if it should be implemented. We should be tapping into that in schools and stuff, right the way down. Like my son already does it now. He's like, especially he's got a bit of a temper on him, and now I'm like telling him, like, right, just breathe, and he's like. Trying to calm him down, so he's already getting me in his ear.
And just linking back to something we said earlier on when you were asking me about the challenges with mental health in young people. I think I said then, and that's proof of it there. It's not, we've got challenges, but we need to provide solutions. Yeah. And the solutions we want now are different to what we needed when, say, we were younger. But in the 80s group, in the 90s, there was a different type of challenge then, and there was a different need then. We've just got to adapt as a society and give all of us different tools and techniques to support the challenges that we're currently facing. So I'm all with you. I do think it should be taught.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's big challenges with young males, isn't there? And I think it's like what you're doing. I think it's so important that there's positive male role models as well, because I think the statistics with young males and stuff, and like again there was like that program that came out on Netflix that was really popular. I forget what it's called, but it kind of like highlighted the issues with kind of young males and stuff. So I think just having
well, it's interesting you say that. One of the coaching clients that I've been working with for a while now, we're coming together in the near future to host an event, actually, because what was interesting, we hadn't explicitly talked about this, but we'd both come to it from the same angle. So I've talked about a lot of my coaching clients are high achievers, high performers in their field, whether that's in sport or business or education or whatever. But I was seeing a growing number of people reaching out and looking for support, and it was men who wanted to be better but were a bit stuck.
Right.
one of these men described it as the living for the weekend group.
Right,
and
okay.
that's where they were unhappy with it, but just constantly living for the weekend.
Yeah.
And finding that they were a bit stuck. At the same time, I had this conversation with one of my clients, high performer in the world of fitness, and he said to me, it's the same. He said, people are coming to me and through the lens of personal training or fitness instructing. He said, but really, that's not what they're looking for. They're just a bit stuck.
Yeah.
So we've come together, and in November we're going to host an event where the Better Man event, which will look targeted specifically at men who are feeling like this, and we're going to share with them some of the techniques that I'll do from a coaching perspective, and Andrew will share some of the techniques he does as well. He's an NLP coach, and he's got a lot of experience as well. So he's going to do some support and just give back to people and try and support them. But again, with the challenge that we've all got different challenges, so we need different solutions to those challenges. Yeah. And we're finding a growing number of people who are just saying to us, how do you help? That's exactly what you're doing with your retreats or your get-togethers. You're finding new solutions for the modern day man. Yeah. If we'd done that in the 80s and 90s, we probably wouldn't have had people attend. No. But it's the way now. Yeah, so I just think there's a growing influence of people who are trying to do good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I've discovered 43 now, one of the best things you can do in your life is actually, if you're doing some form of impact or actually actively trying to make change, because one, the amount of help that an impact that you can actually have, but then also, like, you know, we mentioned the word privilege. I get, like, you know, thanked and, you know, sometimes praised for the work, but I'm like, I feel so privileged to be able to do this work that I'm doing, because it's, you know, selfishly how rewarding
it's great, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and the release you get from it and all of it just feels great. It feels absolutely brilliant, doesn't it? I love it, absolutely love it. Yeah. I can't think, well, all of my work, whether it's in the college scenario, whether it's the coaching, the charity work that I do, it's all about just helping people. And but I feel, as you said there, I feel quite selfish because it's me who gets loads of reward out of it as well. Yeah,
no. Joe Hilton says, "Is it the givers high?"
Yeah,
I think I've heard him mention that, and it's true. And I think Alistair, who maybe we're just all really selfish,
Yeah,
but you know what? If you've got choices in life, haven't you? And I think if you're throwing yourself into positive stuff. Ultimately, that's the best thing you can do, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's really, really rewarding for us, but also for other people who we support. Yeah. I say to my staff that I'm very fortunate to lead at the college. It's great what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if we get better, so do the students, and then they have better lives, and then so do their kids, and then so do their families. And the ripple effect is absolutely huge. So just be the best we possibly can, because everybody benefits then as a result.
Yeah. And I probably guess that you've, from all of your football and background and stuff, and your sporting background, am I right in thinking, is it still kind of just like running a team where, like, you're the manager or the captain and you've kind of, like, you're all in it together as a unit?
Yeah, there's so many similarities. You're absolutely right. I love leadership. I really do love leadership, and I'm very fortunate to lead a fantastic team, like a really, really fantastic team. There's loads of similarities. They get sick of me referring back to football, though, because on football you can't have a team of 11 strikers, but you need somebody to put the ball in the back of the net, so you sometimes need that type of character. But you also
it's people's skill sets, isn't it?
Yeah, you need different skill sets, and you need synergies between people so they can work well together. You need a clear goal, you need a clear intention, and you've got to make sure that you put in a great performance as well. So there are loads of similarities to that. Yeah. And because of my background, I probably use them a bit too much. You'll have to ask my team.
No, though, again, though, what you tapped on before, though, like little terms. So that I remember I had this coach, this boxing coach that I went to. He's the guy called Andy Marksby, and he's the GB boxing coach. But fortunately, he's from Darlow, and he's got a gym in Darlow. And like I've never had a coach like him. And one thing that he'd done, he had endless amounts of terms. Endless amounts of terms. So I remember kind of like coming away and thinking, like when I would say spar, I would say here cheeky boxing, and I knew what that meant. Or there was so many terms, and I remember just thinking, wow, this is like what an absolute coach.
Yeah,
like
just simplifies things for you. So when you need them in the moment, the stick. Yeah.
Bring down the curtain.
Yeah,
it's like, and I can totally relate to that because I wanted to be secluded. Now there was no TV cameras, but I just needed to be secluded.
Time. Yeah, use them a lot in coaching. Use them a lot in leadership, and they are to simplify the message, so therefore you can get more people. Now in the role I have at the college, I'm very fortunate to lead 300 staff across 3 different sites. So it's difficult then to give long, elaborate messages. And like a game of Chinese whispers, by the time it gets to the 300th person, it's going to be a very different version. So you've got to keep it really, really simple.
Yeah.
So it's easy to share.
Yeah.
Try and do that as much as you can.
And get onto the speaking. I remember seeing you at the charity event as the compere. It looked like you'd done it for a living.
No.
And it absolutely did. And I think speaking, like, you can be whatever you are. You can be a 9 out of 10 at skill set, knowledge, but actually hearing someone talk or deliver it, and it's a 4 out of 10. You might be perceived as that. How did you dabble into being a speaker and actually all the comparing and stuff? How did that come about?
It's a good story, that, because people see thank you for the kind comments, and people compare like the PFC Trust ball once a year, and they go, oh, wow, so natural. It's not natural whatsoever. It's taken a long time to get to that point. But I remember an old mentor, or a former mentor, not old, a former mentor said to me, you're going to need to develop your communication skills if you want to go to where you want to go. He said it's a big part of your job. Where he was talking senior leadership and further education. You'll stand in front of your staff, you'll present lots. And it started by me just saying yes to things. So, Shaun, would you talk to this assembly of school kids? Yes. Petrified, but go and do it. Shaun, would you deliver this award at this presentation? Yes. So you go and just do that. Shaun, will deliver this CPD? Yes. So just saying yes to things, and then practice, looking for feedback all the time. Yeah. Attended a couple of courses as well and got some great hints and tips, and then really throw myself in the deep end. The year that I said I was the chair of the charity at the time, and I said I'd compare at the event, and then it dawned on me that there's 350 people in there. There's no lectern, so I can't have my notes out in front of me, and I've got to do it ad lib. First year was okay. Next year got better. It's got better again since.
What year were you on then
when you came? Year 2.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, 2.
Wow.
So I've done another couple since then.
Incredible. I just thought this guy clearly does this for a living.
No, not at all. And I just practice.
I'm pleased you've said that. Yeah. So that's something that I'm a bit obsessive about. So in terms of like, I'm all about some people have asked us about like, do you do much, do you prepare? And I'm like, endless amounts of practice. Yeah. Because if I don't go into something and haven't practiced, then I'm absolutely going to I still get the nerves. But if I know that I've practiced, then I'm like, you've done what's necessary.
Absolutely, yeah, all the time. And I've played about with that and how I practice. So it has things. I walk my dog every morning, so I'll rehearse in my head. I did for this. I didn't know what questions you were going to ask me, but I just rehearse in my head. Yeah. And I'll drive. I have a relatively long drive to work. I'll turn the music off and just talk at myself and just practice. And then the day before a big event like the comparing the charity ball, I'll stand up on that stage and then practice where my eyes will go, and I'll practice. Yeah. So we talked earlier on actually about a guy we both know, the Dickman brothers, and I remember it was Elliot Dickman who said to me, never live your life thinking, what if? What if I tried harder? What if I practiced more? Never live your life thinking, what if? I was 15 at the time when he said that to me, and it stuck with me. And he might listen to this. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him since I was 16-year-old. But what an impact it made on me.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, I do it all the time now.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't want to look back and go, oh, what if I tried harder?
Yeah, no, you know what? I love that because this is what I say in my talk. So I repeat this story all the time, but it's my favourite story, so I'll never ever get bored of sharing it. So like the word, the never throw in the towel, keep on living. That comes from my grandma's eulogy.
Really?
Yeah. So that's where the whole thing.
Wow.
That's where the whole thing came from. I used the words "she never threw in the towel," and that was describing my grandma's fighting spirit towards getting stage 4 cancer. Oh. And it was, I share that, how it was so inspiring seeing this woman's attitude towards facing adversity. Straight after the funeral, there was a bloke waiting for me outside the church, and guy was in floods of tears. He'd attended the funeral. I didn't know him. Grabbed my hand and thanked me for the eulogy. Same night, he had sent me a big long message sharing with me that he was really in a dark headspace, and he was having to go and see professional help, and he was really, really struggling. And then he'd said, "Just need to let you know that," clung onto the words, "never throw in the towel." And that's something where and it's great that you've touched on that. It's like sometimes words stick. Yeah. Or sharing a story, it just sticks, doesn't it? Yeah. And like what you've just said there, and we hold on to. So I've got stuff where I'm like, hold on to them words.
It's a wonderful story, that, because you've taken something and which is so challenging, and then turned it into something that's so positive and supported, and then obviously goes on and supports hundreds and thousands of people now in the work you do, and the sentiment you make is absolutely true. I think language is powerful, but also abused. Yeah. And I'm very, very careful in the language that I use to when speaking to large audiences, or to audiences, to anybody really. But I've got to challenge poor use of language as well, and I'm very nervous about some of the language that's being used in society now, and we use things like crisis a lot. Yeah. We make the problem with this is, well, it's not a problem, it's a challenge, and a challenge we need to overcome. I'll hear regularly people say that this is a nightmare. Is it though, really? Yeah. Is it really a nightmare, what we're facing and I try and give a different perspective, because I think we can, if we're saying that language out loud, we're saying something even worse to ourselves. Because if we feel confident enough to say it out loud, it's probably a watered down version of what we've said in our own mind. So I try and contradict and challenge poor use of language where I can. Yeah, and you know what? That'll be definitely one of my takeaways from hearing you speak. Because sometimes I've probably used the word crisis, and actually, what you've just said there, I think, is a way better approach and mindset about it. So that'll definitely be one of my takeaways from hearing you this conversation. Yeah, thank you. And I'm not for 1 minute. The statistics show that we have a real challenge with this. Mm-hmm. Challenge feels something that you want to overcome. Crisis feels something that's happening to you and you can't control. So it's a play on words to say, do you want to overcome this? Or do you want to let it overcome you? Yeah. I try and do that wherever. Well, I think for me, it's all I try to from working in the field. I look at it from like a fighting back perspective. Like, how can we tackle this? How can we push back? And this is that's the angle that I try to come. It's what you are doing as well, because you can see the way you're doing it is speaking to a group of people who don't feel heard, and finding a way to hear them. Yeah, so
Absolutely. I think storytelling, and this is something that I think it's just, for me, it is one of the best ways to nudge conversation or to help. Like, I didn't realise, like, I heavily talk about my grandma when I'm doing my speaking, and like how much like the grandma story resonates to people, because especially people in the northeast, like I got brought up by me grandma, so people can relate from stories.
And key people in your life, key people who I've talked about my dad a lot. I've talked about other key people who've had mentors who've had an impact on my life.
Yeah,
and you're being one of those now with the communities that you've created as well.
And I think though, for impact though, it has to come from the leaders, doesn't it? Mm. It has to come from in workplaces or colleges or wherever that culture and that and everything with it. I do think it has to come from the top, and that's when it snowballs down.
Absolutely. Well, you've got positively or negatively. It does. It's whether you decide what do you want that to be. So I could walk into college after this and be dragging my face along the ground, because I'm so upset and so angry or whatever it may be. That will resonate around the organisation. Or I can put a smile on my face, throw my shoulders back, and be positive, say hello, good morning as I walk through the door, and that also will have an impact. So you're having an impact. You decide on which one you want to have. And I don't say that with any arrogance. It's just a fact that when we're in a society that respects hierarchy, whether we realise it or not, we respect it and we learn from it.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a choice every day. My choice is let's be positive. And let's make a positive impact wherever we can. Yeah.
And that is it's a huge thing. I mean, I'm a little bit of a turn into a hippie the older I've got, but energy though, that energy does just go. So if you coming in somewhere, especially if you're a leader or running somewhere, if you've got that positive energy, it actually does ripple.
Oh, of course it does. Absolutely. Completely. It does. Yeah, and we've coming back full circle to our environment, aren't we? So you can feel it sometimes when you walk into an organisation, but you can't put your finger on why.
Yeah.
And it might be those little touches that bring that positive energy, or it can be those little touches that bring the negative energy.
Yeah.
I've just the laugh if they watch this back, my staff. We did our staff conference last week, and we talked about mood hoovers, those people who suck the positivity out of it. You know, how are you feeling this morning? How's things this morning? Surviving, and like this type of thing. And you've got a choice with the language that you use. Make a positive one. Yeah. Let's try and enjoy ourselves. It's a great thing we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. You always kind of, you're always going to get that on you. You're always going to get that. But again, I think them people can be they can be transformed though.
Absolutely.
With a bit of positivity and energy and the way that you deliver it and stuff.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely. I work at a wonderful place that is largely positive all the time.
Yeah,
with challenge, but largely positive.
Yeah. Well, I've got I got a great relationship with Kat. I don't know whether you know Kat from the hair. Yeah. So Kat took me through my what was it?
Your barbering qualification?
Yeah. No, it was more me education. So I kind of I tapped into delivering city and guilds and stuff. So I had to get my assessor's qualification. She's just absolute salt of the earth woman.
Yeah.
She literally couldn't do enough for you. I don't think I've ever asked her for a little favour or anything like that. She's always just broke her neck to help me.
Out,
even outside the college, we've had meetups and stuff.
Yeah, she's absolutely great. And it's lovely for me to hear things like that. It's what I see every day, but it's lovely for other people to see and feel.
I had a great I had a great experience being a learner.
Yeah.
And quickly touch on the charity work then. So how did you get into that then?
Oh, that's a story. So everything comes back to helping others. So back in a long time ago, I was teaching. I was the head of sport at the college at the time, and I was still teaching. and this lovely lady who I'd met in the local community. She was supporting, her daughters were playing football for the local football club, and she was the treasurer, I think, or secretary or something. She told me she wanted to do a teaching qualification, just like you were alluding to there. And I said, oh, well, come along. I'll get you into the college and get you on the teaching qual. And then she come and said, but I need a mentor. I said, well, I'll be your mentor. I'll stay back on I can't remember what day it was, Tuesday night, and I'll support you. Of course I will. Fast forward maybe 5-6 years, this lovely lady called Frances Connolly wins the Euro Millions. We'd lost touch with one another at that point. She'd moved back to Ireland. She won the Euro Millions. And I'm driving along the road in Hartlepool, and the car phone comes up, and it's my mum on the phone. She said, no, that lady, you know, she's on BBC News. She's won the Euro Millions. I said, you're joking, Mum. She went, no, she is. She's on BBC News. And at the same time, call Holden, Frances Connolly. So I picked the phone up, put the phone down to my mum, picked the phone up, and she said, Shaun, I've won a load of money on the Euro Millions. I'm going to set up a charity in Hartlepool, but only if you'll run it for me.
Really?
And I went, yep. I didn't know what I was let myself in for. So she gifted was £1 million to set up the PFC Trust.
Wow.
And 4 of us started it. We're now a board of 10. I've stepped down as chair recently. Jen Beveridge has stepped in as chair. She's done an absolutely fantastic job. So 6 years ago, we established that. We've gifted around about £1.3 million now, because we generate more money. Still lots of money left to generate and support. We've changed infrastructure, built buildings in the town and changed things around, started projects, supported people to have life-changing opportunities. We've plugged the holes where there's been gaps for things. We've done all sorts.
Yeah.
It's just been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And learned loads along the way.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, that.
But it comes from I helped her.
Yeah.
And then she...
Well, I've always looked at it... I remember when I first started doing me free monthly meetups, and like I think I had the second one. The second one had 31, and then speaking to people, they were like, the great days, you could charge for them, easy. And I was like, nah, I want to do them for free. And I always thought it always comes back. Yeah, I thought. Do you know what I mean? It always does come back.
Yeah, it is. I always say to my girls, 2 daughters, Gracie and Bella, and I've always said since they were born, it's nice to be nice.
You know what?
Come back and pay.
My no word of a lie, the most quote that sticks with me from my grandma, it's nice to be nice. Yeah. That's what she always used to say. I've always had that drummed into me all my life. Yeah, it's nice to be nice.
It's nice to be nice, and it always comes back, and the work I've done for the charities also brought me unbelievable opportunities.
Yeah.
Things I do. You mentioned there, comparing the annual gala ball, brilliant opportunities like that, but other things like I've been all over, I've done all sorts of different things as a result of that.
Yeah, I've always put it down to me. I've done many things and opportunities, and I've always stripped it all back to just I've always tried to be a sound, nice lad.
The only thing I don't know what would be nice this Sunday, I'm running the Great North Run. I'll tell you if it's nice. I'm doing that for the charity as well, so I'll tell you if
mate, you know what
I might not be thanking them come.
You know what I done that last year, right? Yeah. So it was coincided. I was boxing in the December, and the Great North Run was in the September, and I'd never done it before. And so I was like, I'm doing it for a charity, fantastic. And then kind of selfishly, I was like, also, this will kind of take me away from my fitness for the boxing. Yeah. So I thought, perfect. However, I underestimated. So everything that I was doing around the boxing was a lot more tailored to the boxing. So my fitness work was... I was doing like fartlek training. Yeah. I was doing 400 meters rest, go again. We're doing all that, and then again, 2-minute round boxing. And I was like, and then because I've always been a sportsman, I was like, I'll be able to do that. Yeah. how wrong was I?
Our age doesn't allow us to do that anymore. Now we have to do the preparation, see?
Yeah, mate, I got to 9 Mile, and from 9 to the finish was pure grit. I was in agony. Agony. I got through it, and I ran the full thing. But mate, I totally underestimated that.
I know what you mean.
Have you been doing much training for that then?
Yeah, not as much as I would like, but
Right.
I feel ready. I'll get through. I've done it. This is the 6th time, so you sort of.
Also, you know what
I know what I'm letting myself in
Yeah.
for. And
the whole thing's uphill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody, it's a bit. People were telling me it's a bit odd. I'm like, no, the whole thing's uphill.
Yeah.
Or I found that.
I've done other half marathons that are significantly easier and faster than the Great North Run because they're not uphill.
Yeah. Oh well, good luck with that one.
Thank you very much.
So I've not prepared you for this. I'm gonna. We mentioned stories. I'm gonna throw a curveball.
Okay.
Right for the finish. What's your best story?
Ooh. Story I tell or the story?
Just from what is there anything that jumps out at you? And I know it's a curveball and it's probably a hard one to answer. Is there anything that jumps out for you? And it can be anything. What's from your life experiences or things that have happened to you, or what's your best or favourite story?
Yeah, I've sort of alluded to earlier on, but the experiences that you have and how they shape you, and I've had several that I didn't realise at the time have significantly shaped me, and now if I look at those and tell them as stories, I can take real strong lessons from them. I alluded there to the experience I'd had at Sunderland when I was released by there, but the bigger shock was being released as a professional footballer at the age of 20, 19, just short of 10 and 20. And my world came apart at that point. I'd been 2 years as a professional. Coventry were a Premier League club when I first went there, so you can imagine what that life was like.
Yeah.
I was paid extremely well as a young man, with salaries that I didn't go on to match again until I was 35-year-old or something like that. So
right.
at 17, 18-year-old, I was paid extremely well. I had a brilliant lifestyle, and then that comes crashing down to an end. What it also did for me, as well as probably now I know what I know and I've done a lot of the work, it completely dented my identity. My identity was all built on being a footballer.
Yeah.
And, crushed that. But then life gives you other opportunities and other chances, doesn't it? And remember, I sort of said, I had sort of crossroads at that point. And one of those was to just go into the path of least resistance. Dad's got a factory, bakery business. Go work in there. You know it. It's easy. You almost don't need to interview for it. Girlfriend's pushing me to go to this thing called university that I don't really know about. And I had a choice there. I made the right one. Went off to university, probably following her, but went off to university. And then comes other choices, but each of the next choices along the way become a little bit easier to make because you've done that big one. You've made those big choices. Nothing now, when I say this I'll stand in front of all of our students in the next couple of weeks, and I'll say that then. I've never needed to make I've never had a challenge that's as great as that one.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have a go.
Yeah.
Just going to have a go because it really has shaped and defined who I was, because everything that was about, I thought everything I was about was built on being a footballer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and it isn't. And I've got lovely titles now: principal, chief executive, performance coach, all these type of things. They're not my identity.
Yeah.
Not at all. So yeah, the story I find myself telling more and more. And maybe because of the type of people I'm working with now is I talk about that story and how it really shaped my life.
Yeah. Oh, no, I absolutely love that, because the main focus of when I was decided to do a podcast, it was what was the aim? What was like, what do you want? And it was like, I just want to try and get people to tell stories where they've been in bad times, hard times, had to show resilience and proved you can get through those bad and hard times.
Yeah.
And that story is exactly it. And I can massively relate to that, because when I look at one of my hardest struggles was, I was Anthony from Big Brother. That's him from Big Brother. And when I'd, come out of that, my identity was that. And the thought of going into getting a normal job terrified me. Ego, pride, paranoia, what people would think, all of that noise. And again, crossroads. Yeah. It was like, I'm approaching me late 20s here. And everyone else's careers, kids, like, what do I do here? Yeah. Luckily enough, I made some right steps, and then...
Absolutely. I'll leave it with this, if you like. So, because we've said these little sayings that stick, and there was just a point you made, and there's a point that in my story as well. And the saying is, if you don't communicate, you will contaminate. What I mean by that is, if you don't communicate, so if you don't talk about it, in your head you'll contaminate that to be significantly worse. What happened in that story for me, and there's been others, and there'll be people who listen to this who are in significantly more challenging times than that. But I know by talking through it, we can get solutions. In your scenario there, in your head, you're making, what they're thinking of me, what's so-and-so doing, how I'm comparing myself to everybody else, contaminating that. But then you start to communicate, you start to speak to people, start to look at different opportunities, and you find your way through those. The same's happening now in the wonderful communities you've created through Never Throwing the Towel, and the retreats you're doing, the talks you're doing. That's people communicating. That stops them from being in here and just contaminating all the time. So I really, really encourage people. Tell those stories. Listen to those stories.
Yeah.
And I promise you things will improve.
That is a fantastic way to end, mate. Shake me hand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated, Shaun.